You know how the internet just loves those, like, creepy stories?
Oh, yeah.
Well, today's deep dive, I think, might be one of the weirdest ones yet.
Ooh, okay.
We're talking about the lamp story, that viral Reddit post about a man who, well, he basically lived a whole other life while he was unconscious,
Hmm,
only to snap back to reality.
right.
It's been all over TikTok lately, and it really makes you think,
Yeah.
ever had one of those moments where reality feels just a little off?
What I think is so fascinating about this is how this story, which started on Reddit years ago,
Yeah, like way back.
is suddenly like resonating so strongly now. It seems like it tacks into this, I don't know, primal fear we all have
Totally.
that what we think is real might be completely made up.
Right. So before we go too far down the rabbit hole,
Yeah.
let's quickly recap the story for anyone who hasn't heard it.
Okay.
So this guy's walking down the street, minding his own business, when bam, he's attacked, knocked unconscious.
Right.
Pretty standard scary story so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
But then things take a very weird turn. He wakes up, but not to the sidewalk where he was attacked.
He finds himself living a totally different life. Married, he's got 2 kids, a stable job, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
He spends 10 years living this like seemingly perfect life, completely oblivious to the fact that it's not, his actual reality.
Crazy.
But then there's this one detail, a tiny detail, this lamp in his house that starts to like unravel everything.
Okay, the lamp thing is where I started to get, like, seriously creeped out.
Yeah.
He gets so fixated on this lamp, saying its perspective is wrong, like it's breaking the laws of physics.
Uh-huh.
And what I find so interesting is that this tiny detail, this little glitch, is what completely shatters his whole reality.
It's almost like his subconscious, right, is trying to break through.
Interesting.
It's like sending him a signal that something's not right. And the more he focuses on this lamp, the more his like carefully constructed reality starts to fall apart.
He describes it as his cognizance breaking up.
Mm.
His wife is understandably worried, right?
Of course.
He's withdrawn from the family, barely eating or sleeping, completely obsessed with this lamp.
I see.
It's like his brain is glitching,
Yeah.
trying to, I don't know, reconcile these two realities.
Yeah.
His anxiety and distress are so clear in the original Reddit post.
Oh, really?
He writes, "The lamp is not real, the house is not real, my wife, my kids, none of that is flipping real. The last 10 years of my life are not fucking real." You
Wow.
just feel the panic in his words.
Right.
As his world falls apart, it's total sensory overload.
Oh, man.
And he's desperately trying to figure it all out. And then, snap. Just like that, he's back.
He is
Back on the sidewalk, moments after the attack, surrounded by strangers. Like those 10 years, just poof,
gone.
gone.
Wow.
But the emotional scars, those are very real. And that's the real tragedy of this whole story, I think.
You do.
He talks about years of just, like, deep depression, grieving a family that never really existed. He even mentions seeing glimpses of his son,
Oh, wow.
who's like forever 5 years old.
It really challenges our understanding of grief.
Doesn't it?
If our brains can create such strong emotions for things that never happened,
Yeah.
what does that even say about our reality? Could it be that the emotion is more real than the event itself?
That's a question that's, like, haunted philosophers forever.
I bet.
But what makes the lamp story so interesting is that it takes this big philosophical debate and makes it personal.
Right.
And it's not just one guy's weird story. It's a whole cultural phenomenon. It's like the lamp story has become, I don't know, like this shorthand for when reality feels a bit off.
Yeah.
And, I've totally had those moments where something just feels wrong, like a glitch. But I always thought it was just me,
Right.
like my imagination. Now I'm thinking maybe there's more to it.
Totally. The way this story's gone viral, especially on TikTok,
Oh, yeah,
says a lot about how fascinated we are with the unknown.
for sure.
People are making skits, sharing their own lamp story moments, fixating on like random things that feel out of place.
And it's not just not being scared, is it?
No.
It's almost comforting to know other people have these weird experiences too.
Absolutely.
Like, we're not alone in questioning reality,
It's really validating the article you mentioned with the woman and the blurry spot on her carpet.
Yeah, yeah.
That didn't even show up on camera.
It's those little things, the inconsistencies, that make you question everything.
It really does.
So how do we explain this, like, psychologically? Is there any science behind these glitches?
Well, there are a few ideas that might help. Like, have you ever heard of dissociative fugue?
Vaguely.
It's rare, but basically, people lose their memory and identity, often because of trauma or stress.
Hmm.
Now, the guy in the lamp story doesn't fit that exactly,
Right.
but there are some similarities.
So are you saying his other reality, like, could have been him dissociating to cope with the attack?
It's possible. The brain is so complex. When there's too much stress or trauma, it creates these coping mechanisms.
Wow.
Even like whole other realities to protect itself.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about those glimpses of his son he kept seeing? How do you explain those?
That could be false memories.
False memories.
Our memories aren't always reliable.
Really?
They can be changed by like suggestion, emotions, even what we want to believe.
Huh.
It's possible his brain, because he was so distressed, made up these memories of a family that wasn't real.
But wouldn't he know they weren't real?
Not necessarily. False memories can feel very real. They come with emotions, details, even physical feelings.
Wow.
People can be totally convinced they're true.
That's kind of scary, actually. Makes you wonder how much of what we believe is actually real.
It really does, doesn't it? This has puzzled philosophers for centuries.
I bet.
But the lamp story adds a whole other layer.
Right.
Our minds don't just create false memories. Maybe they create whole fake realities that feel totally real.
So, like, where do we go from here? If our realities can be messed with, how do we know what to trust?
That is the big question, isn't it? And there's no easy answer, but the lamp story gives us a good lesson.
What's that?
To be more aware of how we see things, question what we assume, be open to the idea that maybe there's more to reality than we think.
So those glitches, instead of ignoring them, maybe we should pay attention.
Exactly. Maybe they're trying to tell us something, shake us up and make us see things differently.
Maybe. And those glitches, maybe they're glimpses of something way bigger and more amazing than we can imagine.
I like that. So next time you feel like something's off, don't ignore it, explore it. You never know what you might find.
You know, I started looking at the lamp story because it was creepy.
Yeah, it is.
But now, talking about it, I see a deeper message about the power of our minds and how limited our perception is.
Right.
It's almost like philosophical.
It is philosophical.
It's really about what it means to be human, isn't it?
Yeah,
Our need to connect, our fear of the unknown, trying to understand where we fit in.
absolutely.
And even when things seem impossible, our minds can adapt, create, find meaning.
They really can.
It also shows how important empathy is, especially for mental health.
For sure.
Here's this man, he experienced something we can't understand. It broke his reality.
Right.
We may never get it, but we can see how deeply it affected him.
Absolutely. It reminds us everyone sees reality differently.
Yeah,
What's strange to one person might be real to another. We have to listen and believe those experiences, even if they challenge what we think we know.
so instead of being scared of those glitches, maybe we should welcome them.
I love that.
Maybe they're chances to grow, learn about ourselves, expand our minds, connect with each other better.
It's about changing our mindset.
Yeah.
From fear to curiosity to wonder. What if those glitches aren't mistakes,
But what?
but invitations to explore our own minds?
Okay, I'm way less creeped out now
Good.
and more intrigued by this whole lamp story thing.
Yeah.
But before we, get too existential, let's turn to you, our listener. We've been talking about the lamp story and like all these crazy ideas about what's real and how we see things.
Right.
But now we want to hear from you.
Yes.
Have you ever had one of those moments where something just felt off? Like a glitch in the matrix,
Yeah.
Maybe you saw something that wasn't there or felt like you were in a dream.
We love the weird stuff here. So if you've got a story that made you question reality, we want to hear it.
Exactly. Tell us about it on social media. Use the hashtag #DeepDiveLampStory.
Ooh, good hashtag.
We might even share some of your stories in a future episode. What do you think about this story? Did it, hit home for you?
Yeah.
Did it make you rethink things? We're really curious to hear what you all think.
Yeah.
Even if we never figure out the lamp story completely,
Right.
I think just thinking about it has been really interesting.
It has.
It makes you realize how much we don't know about, well, everything.
The world, our minds, reality itself.
Exactly.
This deep dive shows us that figuring out reality is something we do together.
Yeah.
It's about sharing what happens to us, questioning what we think is true, and being open to, the idea that there might be more out there.
And maybe, just maybe, by, accepting those glitches in our reality,
Yeah.
we can, open up our minds, connect with each other better, and find a whole new way of experiencing life.
So true. So the next time you get that feeling that something's off,
Mm-hmm.
don't just push it away. Look into it. Ask yourself why. You might be surprised what you find.
This has been a deep dive into alternate realities and how we can't always trust what we see.
For sure.
But maybe there's a more positive way to think about the lamp story.
Okay.
What if it's not just a scary story, but like a metaphor
Oh,
for the
interesting.
limits we put on ourselves?
Okay.
Maybe by realizing there could be many realities, we can break free from how we see things now and create a life that's bigger, more caring, and ultimately more fulfilling.
I like that.
Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.
That's what we do.
See you next time.